Welcome. Today, we're diving into regulatory expectations around cleanroom pressure monitoring. I'm Dr. S.K. Singh, and together, we'll explore what standards and guidelines shape how pressure is controlled and measured in these critical environments. Let's get started and understand why this matters so much. Let's start by understanding what pressure monitoring really means. It's all about measuring pressure differences between cleanroom zones, either continuously or at intervals, to make sure air flows the right way. Why does this matter? Because it helps prevent contamination from sneaking in, keeps pressure cascades stable, and supports the cleanroom's classification. It's also key for maintaining sterility and proving compliance with good manufacturing practices. The basic rule here: air always moves from cleaner to less clean areas, guided by carefully controlled pressure differences. Pressure monitoring plays a crucial role in keeping contamination at bay. It creates an invisible barrier, using pressure differences to stop unwanted particles and microbes from moving the wrong way. When monitoring falls short, risks multiply: reverse airflow, particle entry, microbial contamination, cross-contamination, and even product quality failures. For example, a pressure drop between two controlled rooms caused airflow to reverse, forcing a full batch review and an investigation into what went wrong. This shows just how vital pressure control really is. Let's talk about the expectations set out in EU GMP Annex 1, focusing on environmental control. Facilities need to keep the right pressure differences between cleanrooms to prevent contamination. Critical cleanrooms must be continuously monitored, often with alarms to catch any issues early. Pressure data isn't just collected, it's recorded, reviewed, trended over time, and investigated if anything goes off track. All of this supports the bigger picture: the facility's contamination control strategy, which keeps everything safe and compliant. When it comes to global standards, we're looking at three key players: WHO GMP, PIC-S GMP, and FDA CGMP. Who focuses on monitoring the environment, verifying HVAC systems, and investigating any deviations? PIC-S adds controlled pressure cascades, alarm systems, and thorough documentation to the mix. The FDA emphasizes controlling environmental conditions to avoid contamination and mix-ups. Across all three, one thing's clear: pressure control systems must be scientifically justified, validated, and properly maintained. This is non-negotiable. Let's talk about pressure differentials, a key factor in controlling airflow. Here, the difference between two areas is 13 pascals, which falls right within the recommended range of 10 to 15 pascals. That means acceptable airflow control is maintained. But remember, higher-risk operations might need tighter controls. While regulations don't set a universal number, industry standards guide us to keep these pressure differences consistent between adjacent spaces to manage contamination risks effectively. Let's talk about monitoring systems and the devices that keep them running smoothly. Differential pressure transmitters provide continuous electronic monitoring. They never miss a beat. Magnehelic gauges give us a clear visual readout of pressure differences. Then, digital sensors tie everything together, integrating with building management and SCADA systems for real-time control. These platforms, BMS, EMS, and SCADA, make it all work seamlessly. For example, an grade aseptic processing suite logs pressure readings every minute through its BMS, ensuring precise environmental control. Let's talk about alarm management requirements, specifically alert and action limits. For example, if our target differential is 15 pascals, we might set an alert limit at 12 and an action limit at 10. When those thresholds are crossed, automated responses kick in: visual alarms, audible alerts, emails, even SMS messages. Regulators expect that any excursions beyond these limits are investigated thoroughly, with corrective actions documented. This keeps systems safe and responsive, and helps us stay compliant. Let's talk about data integrity and documentation, the backbone of reliable pressure monitoring. Records need to capture key details like date and time, sensor location, user acknowledgement, and the investigation outcome. We follow the ALCOA Plus principles to ensure data is attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, accurate, complete, consistent, enduring, and available. When it comes to electronic systems, compliance with regulations like 21 CFR Part 11 and Annex 11 is essential to maintain trust and meet industry standards. When we talk about qualification and validation for a pressure monitoring system, we're looking at a clear life cycle. It starts with design qualification, making sure the monitoring strategy actually supports contamination control. Then, installation qualification, verifying the instruments are installed correctly. Next, operational qualification, testing alarm limits and monitoring functions under challenge conditions. Finally, performance qualification, showing the system performs consistently during routine use. For example, a pressure transmitter was challenged at 10, 15, and 20 pascals, and the results stayed within a tight plus or minus 1 pascal acceptance range. When something critical goes off track, regulations expect us to document it thoroughly and assess it scientifically. That means digging deep with a root cause analysis, checking how the product might be affected, reviewing the environment, and putting corrective actions in place. Here's an example. A pressure differential between grade B and grade C should be around 15 pascals, plus or minus 3, but we observed just 8. Possible causes: HVAC issues, a blocked HEPA filter, an open door, or maybe a sensor glitch. Each needs careful investigation. Effective pressure monitoring brings clear benefits across the board. First, it protects the product by reducing contamination risks and boosting sterility assurance. Then, it drives operational excellence, keeping the environment stable and spotting problems before they escalate. On top of that, it supports regulatory compliance, making inspections smoother and ensuring strong adherence to GMP standards. Key practices include a defined pressure cascade, continuous monitoring, alarm management, and thorough data integrity. Together, these elements create a robust system that's reliable and ready for review. Pressure monitoring is recognized worldwide as a cornerstone of environmental control in pharmaceutical cleanrooms. It's not just about measuring pressure, it's about continuous monitoring, setting scientifically sound pressure differentials, managing alarms effectively, and thoroughly investigating any deviations. These practices ensure contamination is kept at bay, product quality is maintained, and regulatory standards are met. Across global guidelines, from EU GMP Annex 1 to FDA and WHO, pressure monitoring is a vital part of every facility's contamination control strategy. It's essential for patient safety and inspection readiness. That brings us to the end. If you need any more support or have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you for your time and attention. It's been a pleasure sharing this with you. This video was created with SlideSpeak. Visit SlideSpeak to turn your presentations into engaging AI-narrated videos.